Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ben. I'm from Pearson, Spain. Welcome to this webinar. And the topic of this webinar is going to be using psychometric tests for soft skill personal development. I've got the pleasure of welcoming our speaker, Wyn Davies. He's a teacher and trainer, former global product strategist at Pearson Talent Lens. A teacher, trainer, facilitator, coach in both the adult education and corporate L&D sectors. In addition to possessing a wealth of experience in teaching and training, Wyn has the added benefit of possessing strong strategic, team, people management and sales expertise, along with the commercial and marketing skills. Wyn worked for a number of years at Right Management, a global career transition and HR consultancy, before moving to Pearson Education in the Global Talent Assessment Division. His roles included designing and delivering a range of training modules, including critical thinking. So without further ado, over to you then, Wyn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ben. I'll just share my screen, if you bear with me. Just check you can see me okay?
At the moment, we're just seeing your name.
Okay.
Rather than the screen.
Just wait 1 second. Okay.
There we go.
Right. Okay. So as Ben said, this talk is about psychometric assessments for soft skill development. So psychometric assessments are also known as psychological tests. And during this presentation, I'll use both terms, and the presentation will cover the following topics: the different types of psychological tests and how you apply them, some examples of tests, and some important points to consider when using psychological tests, such as accessing the tests, administration and scoring, interpretation of test results, and giving feedback. The session will last approximately 30 minutes in total. The psychometric assessments are designed to provide objective measures of one or more psychological characteristics. Two of the most commonly measured psychological characteristics are cognition, which looks at how you think and reason, and personality traits and preferences and the associated behaviors. Reputable psychometrics have the following characteristics. They are all administered, scored and interpreted in a standardized way. They are reliable or consistent and report the same or similar results if they are repeated. They are valid, meaning they accurately assess what they are intended to measure, and they are developed to best practice standards. And it is important to not to confuse exams or endpoint assessments that are designed to measure learning with psychological tests. They're very different, so we'll come on to that later. So these are some of the applications of psychometric assessments. They're commonly used in a number of different contexts. When recruiting new staff and promoting existing ones, it is highly important to know which applicant is likely to be the most suitable for the job. The cost of making a bad hire in terms of time and money is high, and consequently, psychometric assessments are widely used during recruitment by many organizations around the world. When combined with other assessment data, they can provide a deep insight into a job applicant's likely fit to a role. In addition to identifying fit, they can also help highlight the development areas that a manager may need to focus on when they onboard a new employee. Psychological tests are also used by business schools and universities to test applicants to a number of degree courses and degrees. Cognitive ability tests measure students' abilities to reason and solve problems. Research shows that they are also the assessments that best predict likely performance on many courses. Psychometric assessments, especially personality questionnaires, are widely used in leadership and management development programs, such as well as coaching, to help individuals understand more about themselves and others in terms of their preferred ways of behaving. An increased knowledge of our own personality characteristics and the roles these play in our personal and working lives improves our own self-awareness and facilitates collaboration with others. Psychological tests are also used in vocational guidance settings to outline which jobs, in terms of the industry, type of work and level of complexity, are most suited to a particular individual. In this session, we should be focusing on the use of psychometrics to raise self-awareness and in career guidance. Psychometric assessments are also used to ascertain a person's motivation and values, as these can also be significant in their choice of vocation and career. Other contexts in which these assessments are used include succession planning and internal mobility within organizations, the design of teams, and conflict management. So the most common psychological tests you'll come across are what we call cognitive ability tests, situational judgment tests, and personality questionnaires. Ability tests measure levels of generic or specific mental reasoning abilities. You will sometimes see them called aptitude tests. SJTs measure how a person will think and behave when faced with work-related scenarios, while personality questionnaires measure levels of personality traits that are linked to behaviors. Ability tests are primarily used in recruitment, although tests such as the Watson-Glaser test of critical thinking is also used for development. They are also sometimes used for career guidance. SJTs are used in recruitment, training, and sometimes development, where they can highlight the development areas that need to be focused on. Personality questionnaires are used widely in both recruitment as well as individual and team development interventions. Psychological tests are designed to capture either maximum or typical performance. More about that now. Tests that measure maximum performance involve measuring how much a person knows about something or how well they succeed in some respect, often under time pressure. Maximum performance tests have clearly defined right and wrong answers, and it is normal for them to be strictly timed. Attainment tests, including school and college exams, and skill tests, such as a typing test, how many words you can type per minute, are examples of tests of maximum performance. They measure the level of learned knowledge, skills, attainment, or competence. Cognitive ability assessments are also tests of maximum performance, but they differ in that they measure what a person is capable of doing rather than what they have learned. They should therefore not be confused with exam grades. A test of numerical reasoning ability, for example, is very different to a maths test, measuring different things. Ability tests measure how you think and reason, and they can be verbal or non-verbal. They measure either specific mental abilities, such as spatial awareness, critical thinking, verbal, numerical, or mechanical reasoning, or they measure general mental ability, which we often call GMA. General mental ability includes problem-solving skills and the ability to learn things quickly. SJTs are also tests of maximum performance with right and wrong answers. Individuals are presented with specific scenarios and asked to choose the most suitable response from a number of possible options. They are usually designed to assess applicants applying for a specific job role, but they can also be used as endpoint assessments for specific training courses. So here is an example of a non-verbal test of maximum performance, an ability test. This is Ravens, which is published by Pearson and is a gold standard assessment of general mental ability, or GMA. It is an example of a test of maximum performance, and as it is non-verbal, it is not affected by language proficiency. Anybody anywhere can take this, whatever language they speak. People with high scores on this test are likely to learn how to effectively perform a task quicker than those with lower scores. They'll also be more likely to solve complex problems. Test takers are presented with a matrix with patterns running both left to right and up and down. There's a piece missing in the matrix where the question mark sits, and test takers have to identify which piece from a range of 5 possible options completes the matrix. As I mentioned before, high general mental ability has been found to be one of the best predictors of job performance, which is why many employers measure it. The Watson-Glaser critical thinking appraisal, again published by Pearson, is another example of an ability test, and it's a test of maximum performance. Watson-Glaser is a well-respected verbal measure of critical thinking ability, where the items include detailed written passages that require the test taker to use critical thinking to arrive at one correct answer. This item example is measuring the ability to rate how true a proposed inference is to a passage of information. And there are 5 possible answers ranging through true, probably true, insufficient data, probably false, or false. You have to choose one of those. One of them is correct. Thousands of organizations use the Watson-Glaser to hire the best graduates, develop high potential employees, and admit students into challenging programs. And it is available in a number of languages. So let's look at whether you can develop cognitive abilities. Well, in terms of developing these soft skills, it is probably true to say that it is harder to develop certain cognitive abilities and behavior. Problem solving is a key soft skill that many people require, not just in work, but in university. And this is something you may be able to improve through training. A problem solving course is available from Pearson, and the link is shown on the slide. It is possible to develop some specific mental abilities, such as critical thinking skills, and the Watson-Glaser test has a development report for this purpose. There are also many critical thinking training and development courses and materials available online. It is worth checking with Pearson to see if they offer any critical thinking interventions in your region. The other family of psychometric assessments are tests of typical performance, of which by far the most popular are personality questionnaires. These have no time limit, nor do they have correct answers to the items, and they are used very widely in both development and recruitment settings. Personality questionnaires measure primarily personality type or psychological type or personality traits. The most well-known type instrument is the MBTI or Myers-Briggs type indicator, which is used primarily in coaching and development contexts. Type instruments are popular as they only focus on 4 or 5 core personality preferences. Doing a task or activity that involves behaving outside of your natural preference can be psychologically taxing. Criticism of type instruments, however, is that focusing on so few areas of personality is too simplistic, and that human personality is more complex. Trait instruments, on the other hand, generally measure around 15 to 20 distinct personality traits. There are a number of global personality trait measures that are used widely both for recruitment and development purposes. The Work Style Lens, published by Pearson, is an online personality questionnaire that assesses an individual's typical behavior based on 16 personality traits or work styles. Individuals are presented with a number of statements describing a behavior or trait and asked to rate the extent to which they agree with the statement as shown in the example item. Here you are asked how much you agree with the statement, "I have a reputation for carefully checking details," and you must choose one option from the 4 options available. The work styles are those aspects of personality that are most important for success at work. The 16 distinct scales shown on this slide are organized into 4 broad themes: relating to people, dealing with emotions, approach to work, and thinking styles. And you can see the definitions of each scale in this slide. The work styles are directly tied to the Department of Labour's Occupational Information Network, also referred to as ONET, which is a database of requirements for a wide range of jobs and used by many employers. Upon completion of the questionnaire, a report is generated by the platform that provides the individual scores or level of fit with these 16 work styles. The higher the score for each work style, the more likely it is that the individual will tend to show the traits and behaviors described in the definitions for each scale. It can be a useful tool in both hiring and development contexts, including team development. The work style lens questionnaire can be thought of as an assessment of individuals' typical patterns of behaving, feeling, and thinking. So this is how you can use the work style lens for development and self-awareness. In a development setting, the work styles lens report serves two purposes. Firstly, to raise self-awareness of how you sit in relation to others. And secondly, to highlight where your strengths and development areas lie. The scores for the 16 work styles are presented as percentile scores, and this slide shows 4 of them. In this slide, the 4 work styles that impact on relating to people are shown. They are leadership orientation, social orientation, cooperation, and concern for others. The individual's lowest percentile score is in leadership orientation, only the 15th percentile. This means that they are less likely than most to show interest in taking charge and directing others, may hesitate to provide input or opinions, and are more likely to be participative rather than lead others. As many job roles require leadership skills, this is an area where the individual may wish to focus their development efforts. Not all of the 16 styles are important for each type of job, but the ONET database, along with job descriptors and job analyses, highlight which personality traits and behaviours are important for specific roles. It is possible to only assess the relevant work styles. In terms of career guidance, based on their work style lens profiles, which of these 2 individuals is likely to have a bit better fit to a job that requires dependability, meeting deadlines, and a high attention to detail and compliance? So have a look at these 2 profiles, and you can see the percentile scores for each, the two people. Well, the individual with the profile on the right has very low scores for attention to detail and rule following, both of which are job requirements. They may actually be good at the job, but they are likely to have to change their preferred ways of working and behaving, which can be mentally draining and lead to demotivation. The person on the left has very high scores for attention to detail, rule following, and dependability, all of which are required in this job. This job might fit their personality preferences better. In terms of using the work style lens for team development, comparing profiles of team members can highlight differences between the members and any gaps that may exist within the team. For example, if attention to detail is a requirement and all the team members had low scores, this could be a blind spot or area of weakness for the team overall. So here are some psychological test considerations. Before you use any psychological tests, the following points should be considered. How easy or complex is it to administer the test? How is it scored? How does the administrator correctly interpret the results? And what feedback should the test taker receive? Testing face-to-face under supervision is still carried out in certain instances. However, this can involve a lot of time and effort, and tests are usually scored manually, which leads to error. Psychological tests are increasingly administered online and completed unsupervised. Unsupervised online assessments saves the administrator time and effort. Once completed, the scoring is carried out by the test platform, and the results are sent to the trained user to interpret. People are sometimes concerned about cheating with unsupervised tests. For personality questionnaires which do not have correct answers, cheating is not really an issue. Ability tests, however, do have right and wrong answers, and when used for development or career guidance, it is important to stress to the test taker that they should not obtain help when answering, or the results will not accurately reflect the areas of strength and development. Whichever method is used, tests should be administered according to good practice. It is always important to tell a test taker what the test is designed to measure, who will see the scores, and for what purposes the results will be used. So understanding the scores contained in reports is important. The most widely interpreted score in a psychometric test is the percentile, which ranges from 1 to 99. This score is only meaningful in relation to a norm reference group, which is the comparison group of individuals who took the same assessment previously. For example, let's say Joe, a customer service manager, achieved a percentile score of 75. when compared to a norm reference group of 300 customer service managers who took the same test previously. This means that Joe's score was equal to or better than 75% of those individuals in the norm reference group. Percentile scores therefore differ to number correct scores, which are often used for exams. If no norm group exists for a specific job role, then people will use the adult population norm, derived from a diverse group of individuals. In general, some level of training is required to administer psychometric tests, interpret the results and offer feedback. In the UK, most reputable test publishers offer training that is accredited by the British Psychological Society, or BPS. Pearson Talent Lens offers BPS accredited test user training for ability and personality instruments. Those based outside the UK should check the guidelines that exist in their own regions. In terms of feedback, psychologists recommend that when a psychometric test has been used, some form of feedback should be offered. When test takers are provided with appropriate feedback on their performance, this will increase the perceived acceptability of the test. Feedback is especially encouraged when the test is taken for development purposes. Providing feedback can be a sensitive process, as some people have emotional reactions to information about their strengths and weaknesses. When providing feedback, the information given should be fair, accurate, and understandable. It should allow test takers to understand the purpose of the assessment, the relevance of the assessment, and how well they performed. Any questions the test taker has should be clearly answered. Feedback can be written, face-to-face, via video, or over the phone. Computer-generated reports are available for Pearson's assessments, and the Talent Lens team is available to assist with interpreting the results when needed. In summary, therefore, psychometric or psychological tests measure psychological characteristics, of which the two main ones are cognition and personality. They are widely used in both recruitment and personal development contexts. In development settings, they highlight the areas of strength and development, can assist in career guidance, and offer an increased understanding of self and others in terms of thinking and behaving. Training is generally required to administer and interpret tests and give feedback. Your local Pearson Talent Lens team can advise you further. So I'd like to thank you very much for attending this short introductory session to psychometric tests, and I hope you have a better understanding of what they are. Thank you very much for your time.